Y'all ready to roll? We are rolling right now. This is what we do on Bussin' with the Boys.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw indeed, sir. Yeehaw indeed, sir. You definitely look like a cowboy. My name is Taylor Wan. To my right is Aaron Plessinger. I asked him that's how you pronounce it. He says, my grandmother says it like that, so you can say it like that. So if grandma's okay with it, I'm okay with it. First off, the vibe is immaculate, sir.
Let's go, baby.
You look like a real cowboy.
I try to be.
Yeah?
I don't pride myself on being a cowboy, but that's what they call me. So
yeah.
I'm going to embrace
like
it.
Kenny the Cowboy Bartram, dude. You're like him.
Yeah. I mean, if I was as badass as he was,
Brother. You know. Have you ever seen there was a music video that came out, country music video. It was The Chicks Dig It. And he was in the music video doing tricks on it. I thought, oh, fuck. And he had number 16, like 690 on his KTM bike. I thought he was so badass.
He still is badass.
Yeah.
But dude, back in the day when he would go on these trips with Pastrana, and that's who I would look for. Because my mom liked him. I think
your mom came?
No,
that's not your mom?
No. So that is my wife and my team coordinator.
Yeah. Team mom.
Yeah. Team mom.
Team mom.
Yeah.
Do they want to come on and jump on and sit? Hey, do y'all want to come on and sit?
You want to come on?
There's seats right in the back here. We're actually filming right now.
They're pretty shy.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. My wife especially.
And I didn't even close the door too. Come on, team mom.
You're the team mom stuff.
Yeah.
She actually is for sure.
You said wife?
This is my wife. This is Kendall.
And how did Kendall? Kendall, there's a mic over there if you want to grab that. How did the two of you meet?
She's actually an ex-professional four-wheeler racer.
Four-wheeling racer.
Yes.
We're talking about ATVs, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, you used to do that?
Yes.
That's how you guys met, because engines just collaborate and meet together. You guys saw, was it love at first sight, or what was the deal?
Sort of.
Yeah.
I actually was friends with his sister, and they were...
That's a hell of a way in. That's a good way to start the day.
They were always close, so it was like if you're friends with one of them, you're friends with the other one, and so we all hung out. We were actually friends for like 3 or 4 years, and then we didn't start dating until after that.
And if you don't mind me asking, who made the first move?
We don't really know.
Gentlemen?
We don't really know.
Oh, really? Just one night it happened? You guys woke up and you were holding hands like, oh shit, this is it, huh?
Yeah.
This is what we're doing?
It was one night, and then after that, it kind of like just snowballed into this.
A lot of other people said they like could see it coming long before that, but we were so adamant we were just friends that it was like not a thing in our heads.
Dude, that is so fucking cool. Like being best friends, and also it's like, yo, low key, are we attracted to each other? And you're like, yeah, I think so. And then all of a sudden it's a thing.
That's pretty much how it
incredible.
happened.
How long have you been married for?
Almost 4 years in October.
4 years in October. That's awesome.
But we've been together for 10 years.
Damn,
Either
took you a
10 or
minute.
11, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How'd you propose? You do it romantically? You do it like a dirt bike track?
Well, yeah.
She finished her last race as an ATV rider, rips the goggles off, and you're waiting there at the finish
mud
line.
Race, just mud everywhere.
Mud everywhere.
No, so actually it was the end of the Supercross season. We were in Vegas, and I had planned to propose like at the beginning of the season, and then I won my first race, and I looked to my buddy. He used to work with me, and I was like, "You got the ring? Where's the ring at?" And he was like, "No, shit, it's back in the truck."
No.
and I was like, "All right, it's fine. I'll do it some other time." And
just putting off the proposal. It's all good, dude. Don't worry about it.
So
it's right over there. He's like, fuck it, dude. Don't do it.
I had no idea that this was even going on.
Well, every time she would ask me.
You were oblivious. You had no idea?
I had no idea.
So he didn't ask you, like, hey, what kind of rings do you like? Do you like the pear shape? Like, what are you into?
Like rings, because at the time I was pregnant with our first. And he would like blow me off, and I just moved to California.
I would look at her like,
Georgia.
This is not happening.
Yeah,
like,
you're carrying my child, but we are not going to be married.
I got a couple more years.
Yeah.
You know. But no, we were in Vegas, and the championship was winding down, and I had to finish like top 10 or something to get the championship. I finished 8th, won the championship, and then my buddy had the ring. I don't know what she was doing. She was getting my
his stuff, because like when you get a championship, you get a bunch of just like things from sponsors. And so we had done like a team photo on the stage, and I went to grab all of his stuff to like help. And he was like, no, go over there. And I was like,
yeah,
okay, fine.
It's a good way. Get a fight right away before you propose. Yeah.
So I started to walk off, and they all like some of our family was at the end and they were like, no, you need to go get the stuff. And I was like, I just did. So I got like all like flustered and I
throwing off your equilibrium.
Yeah. So then I got like annoyed and I was like, I just tried. And I turned around and he was on one knee at the podium.
That is, I got a little goosebumps, honestly. That was awesome. Did you cry?
Yeah, I just was like so shocked because there was so much hype around him getting the championship that I was so blindsided by it all that
And
no one could have even convinced me.
Yeah,
those emotions.
Hormones. Yeah, I have two children myself. I've been married for 7 years. But dude, that's incredible. And what a guy, by the way, to share that day with you. Like you just won a championship. Now you're saying, because I'm sure people also came to hear about dirt bikes and motocross, not just your relationship. You were saying you had to finish top 8 in this series to get to the championship. So take us through how like Supercross in general works, like how the point systems work, how you get finished top 8, and then is there like one last race at the end, all the marbles type thing?
Kind of. So I was in 250 at the moment, and
250 is the class.
Yeah.
Top,
so there's
right?
450 and then 250, and then 250 has a west and an east region. And both of them, I think there's still 9 races each, but both of them, they start on the west. You race in California, Arizona, up in Washington. I think we raced one, or we did race one in Texas. It was Houston, and then you get like, I think it's 26 points for win, 23 for second, and then it like falls after that, like
in increments of 3.
Yeah. Okay. And it eventually gets to like, if you get like 10th and 11th, you get like 1 point difference.
Woof.
So I ended up being really good that year. And
yeah, dude, speak your truth. You're a badass. You're a badass.
Yeah. So I won the second race of the season. It was at Houston, and I eventually got the points lead, and I kind of started to run away with it. I think I won like 6 races out of the season, out of the 9 that year. So I was pretty, I don't like to boast myself, but I was pretty good that year.
Yeah. No doubt. Real quick, why do you think it's so hard for you to boast yourself? Because literally what you're doing is you're doing what 1% of dirt bikers can do.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been the one to just like kind of brag on myself.
Yeah.
I've always been taught to just be humble and not like just kind of brag on myself.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel good to me. Like
right.
When I say all that stuff, it just doesn't like, I get, I don't know, antsy. I don't know.
Let's speak in facts then. That way we're not boasting. We're just telling the truth.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you won 6 of the first 9. I'll say that's a badass deal. Am I right? So there's 9 in the West region, and then you go to the East region. Yep. How'd that second 9 go?
So
in what year is this, by the way? I know I'm
this is
ball.
2018.
Okay.
So the West and the East is totally different. So I was just racing the West, and we just have 9 races, and then the East is a totally different class, totally different people, and they have 9 races, and then the 450s, they have 17 races. So what we did, actually, I think that was one of the first years they did like the East-West showdown, and we went to Atlanta, and I think that was one of my worst races of the season because in the first corner, I got tagged, hit a hay bale, flipped, and then...
When you say tagged, what does tagged mean?
So you either catch it with your front wheel or your foot peg, and it just tumbles you.
Yeah.
Just brings you to the ground. And so I had to come from like almost dead last to 5th. And then I think I had another bad race was in San Diego. I crashed in the whoops, and I think I got like 7th or something. So, and then I got 8th in Vegas. So those were the 3 races that I didn't win. And then the rest of them were all my deal.
Yeah. Factual evidence.
You
were winning those
not
things.
boasting.
Yeah, we're not
facts,
boasting.
just facts.
You won those things.
Yeah.
So when you win 250, are you now promoted to 450, or is that not how it works? Like how does the process? Because we all want to get to 450, correct? Am I?
Yeah. That's the goal is 450 class. You can win the 250 class, and then you have a chance or a choice to back it up the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you point out after that.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people.
So hold on. You just said a couple of things. You can back it up next year.
Yeah.
Which means go in the 250 class again.
Yeah. And try and win that.
Point out after that.
Yeah.
What does point out after that mean?
Point out is you get so many points. You pretty much automatically point out when you win a championship.
Got you.
But you have the choice to come back to the 250 class and race it again and try to win that championship again and go back-to-back titles, which a lot of people do. I didn't. I didn't really, per se. I had a choice, but it was hard because in my situation, the R450 team, like the senior team to the Yamaha team that I was on, they needed a rider, and they were pretty persistent about it.
Yeah,
and
going up?
Yeah.
Okay.
So ultimately I went up. I didn't get to back it up or anything. So in hindsight, I kind of wish I would have, but also I made it to the 450 class. I made,
you made it
a name for myself, and I established where I was at the time. It took me like 2 years, but after that, it was pretty good.
So if you were to go back in that situation, you said you really didn't have a choice. What would you have done differently to stay in the 250 class? Is there like a situation where you would have to change a team, or how would that negotiation process go down? Is it truly at the end of the day your choice, or because you're a part of that team, they're like, hey, buddy, this is how it works? Well, I'll tell you, with football, once you're drafted, you're going to do what they say.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't want to play this position. Hey, buddy, you're playing this position. That type of thing. So there's not so much give and take. I'm wondering what it is in the Supercross league.
So I mean, I could have like said no, and then I probably would have ended up without a ride, and then I could have went and put my name out there, and somebody would have taken notice because I had just won the championship. I was on my way to maybe win another championship, so I think I would have gotten picked up.
Yeah,
either
if you win
way,
a championship, you're the hottest guy in the market.
Yeah.
So even, once again, speaking factual evidence,
Facts.
we're not boasting. We're just saying you win a championship, and then all of a sudden you're a free agent.
Yeah.
People are going to want to have you.
Yeah. So, and I had a lot of people talking to me because that next year I was actually signed through. I won the championship in 2018. I was signed through 2019 with the team that I was on, and then after that was my signing year pretty much. So I had people talking to me, but I couldn't say yes or no because I was signed through 2019 with the 250 team. But the head honchos at the team I was on, they got to talking, and pretty much seniority of the 450 class team talked to the 250 guy and pretty much said, hey, he's coming or you guys are done.
Really?
Yeah.
Playing hardball like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so that's 2018. So you played your contract out through 2019, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, after that, I went up to the 450 class and signed for, I think it was 2 years plus an option year.
Yeah.
And I went through that. That was a pretty big struggle in my career. It was, the team was definitely putting the work in, but we had a bike that just wasn't up to par with a lot of other bikes. And we went in Supercross, and like my rookie race, I got like 6th, which is pretty good. But throughout the rest of the season, or actually I didn't make it through the whole season. I ended up going to like the 7th round, I think, and I ended up shattering my heel. I I cased this triple, which sent me over the bars, and there was a tabletop after it. It was a triple, and then you would go tabletop over single over another tabletop.
So for those of you listening, when you're casing a jump, you did not go far enough to land that jump.
Yeah.
Triple is you're jumping. There's a middle area where you could double.
Yeah.
And then there's the triple. So you would land the triple, and then 2 singles after that, which you can pretty much put into character what a single is.
Yeah. So what I was jumping was a triple. I landed pretty much my frame my dirt bike on the top of the third jump, which threw me over the bars. I rode the bars up the next jump.
Not ideal.
No, especially because this was at Daytona, so it's long rhythm sections, high speed, and this one was really high speed. And did that over the bars. I ditched the bike as soon as I took off from the next jump because I knew if I didn't, I was going
because
real ride.
So you're going to the tabletop. You hit the peak of the tabletop. You push off. And just said, I'm going to fly this one out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got a picture of it. I'll show you.
Is your heel shattered at this point because of casing that jump?
No. So what happened next is what shattered my heel. When I ditched the bike, I pushed it so hard that like I came back to where I could land on my feet. And I landed in the face of the next jump on my feet and then kind of did a tumble.
Yeah.
But when I landed, that's ultimately what shattered my heel. And when I landed, I was in the middle of the track. I got up and I hobbled off and I was holding my foot like this. And I remember one of the big things I remember was after getting surgery or whatever, I came back and the first meme I seen was because I ripped my boot off and got everything off because I knew something was wrong.
You in a panic.
Yeah,
right? I was freaked out. You feel like something's wrong.
Yeah, and
ripping the boots.
I knew once the adrenaline went down, I was not going to be able to get this boot off, and they were going to have to either saw it off of me or cut it off, whatever. So I ripped it off. I knew something was wrong. So I was sitting there with my foot up like this and just my sock, and this flagger was looking down at me. And I remember seeing the first meme. It said, "Sir, could you please smell my foot?"
Yeah. Was it all like misshapen or just swollen?
Not really.
Okay.
It was more so swollen. But they took me to the actually Daytona is one of the nicer facilities because they have their own pretty much like hospital on site. They took me in there, they x-rayed it. It wasn't as like misshaped as you would think, but when I moved it, I could just feel like I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it.
Just like a bag full of small rocks.
Yeah. And
that was from the hip.
It was gnarly. So
yeah.
I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know to the extent. And when they x-rayed it and everything, they told me it was shattered into like 6 pieces. And I would be getting surgery sometime soon.
And so watching this as a wife, like how do you both, being an ex-ATV rider, how do you guys handle that type of adversity as a couple? Like that had to be a scary image to see, or for you it's like, hey, this is what you signed up for?
No, it never gets easier seeing him crash.
She's the MVP when I get hurt.
Yeah, that's all time. You need that kind of support system.
Oh yeah.
Well, you kind of go into fight or flight, and then like with athletes in general, like an injury happens, the first thing anyone's talking about is get the surgery, get it done, start recovering, then you're back. And so immediately the plan starts, and usually like as a wife or like whoever's closest to the rider, you're the one handling all of that because mentally they can't really at that time. They're just in pain. And so I start getting all of the texts of like from his trainer, like most everyone in the industry has their hookup. So anything happens with these guys and you start getting the text of like, okay, call this guy tomorrow. Like you get set up with MRIs, CAT scans, like pretty much within 24, 48 hours, depending on where you are. And then from there, you do surgery and then you just immediately start recovering. So that's kind of the mode I go into, is just like, what do we do now? Let's do it. Let's get it done and recovering. And when can you be back?
It's pretty much find the best surgeon for your injury. Figure out what they're going to do. And then after the surgery, it's how fast can we actually get back on the bike? Yeah.
But there's one thing to do, like the recovery process and everything, but from a mental standpoint, what's it like when you hurt your heel like that and then you have to go get back on a bike and basically go do the same thing that just injured you from a mental standpoint? Like, what was that like for you?
For me, I've never really had like a hard time doing that.
Yeah,
Like
your haircut says that. Yeah, you seem like you're not afraid of getting back on a bike.
Yeah. I mean,
hell yeah.
Yeah. What like?
Is that a mullet, by the way?
This is
Pull that top off for me. Let me see.
A mullet.
Hell yes, brother.
It looks a little bit better
that
when I
man's
wear
not
it.
afraid to get on another bike. There's no question about that.
I actually just
and the mustache with the soul patch. I shouldn't even ask that question. That's my bad. That's on me.
I've been running for quite a while now.
Yeah.
So I actually just got it cut not too long ago for the first time in like a year. No, yeah, a little bit. Like I think I took like 2 inches off.
Yeah, so I got that little Mississippi waterfall falling back there. Thank you. I just started it, so I'm very proud. But you're my goal. You are definitely my goal.
I don't know if this hairline is your goal though.
Listen,
like, if any,
that's just character, brother. That's all that is.
If any hair companies want to hook your boy up on what to do,
we'll find a sponsor out there for you. We can absolutely do that. Plug your Instagram so they can DM you. What's your Instagram?
It's Aaron Plessinger _7.
_7. You can't forget the _7.
Yeah. If you search my name,
he's hard to miss. You just look at him. He's ready to go. You look fucking badass, dude.
Thank you, man.
So it wasn't that difficult of a thing for you to get back on the bike and go ride again. No mental. You're not nursing that heel at all. You're not leaning too much on your left or right side based on which one the injury is.
Maybe like if I would go in a corner and like try to dab my foot, I would be very timid with this one at first. But ultimately, like what happened with my heel is I think the healing process was almost worse than the actual break itself, because when I went into surgery, they did an L-shaped cut. So it was shorter going up my leg, and then it was longer going along my foot.
So it's like down and over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And with that kind of cut, I'm told now that that's like old school, and that was like probably one of the worst ways to do it.
Yeah.
So
probably not the best doctor.
Well, like the thing was he had done 2 of my surgeries before, and they had turned out perfect. And this one was the first one with like actual options. So he could have went and did like an external fixator around my whole heel, or he could have did this way, or there was another way he said he could have done it, but he chose this way because ultimately this was the fastest way pretty much to get me healed, and what he thought at the time. But with how much blood went out of that incision, it
from swelling.
Yeah, from swelling, it eventually killed the skin around the incision. And I pretty much, I was in California when I got it done, spent like 3 or 4 weeks there. I went to Florida, where I lived at the time in Tallahassee. I went to the skin doctor, and he was like, hey, this is like really bad. He was like, if you would have waited probably a week more, we would have had to redo this whole surgery.
No way.
And what I didn't know was that skin was dying. I thought it was all scab, right?
Yeah.
And
you don't know.
Yeah.
You're just looking at it like, it's healing.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
But, and it looks similar to other things, but what had happened was it was dying from the inside, or like, I guess inside out. And it was probably like, I don't know what the dude said, like 1/2 centimeter away from the metal. And if it would have hit the metal, it would have probably gotten an infection on the metal, infection in the bone, and then they would have had to do the whole surgery over again. So that was a big hit. So what they did was they pretty much scraped everything out.
When you say scraped everything out?
They scraped the whole wound.
So they put you under again?
No.
Or they numbed the area?
Not really, because
so they just let you raw dog this thing?
Pretty much, yeah.
All
like it had a scab, I'm going to say like probably 1/2 inch tall, about 3 inches wide or long.
Yeah.
And the dude peeled it off, and I couldn't really feel it because I don't know whether the skin died or whatever, like the nerves died around it. He started peeling it, and it was actually a gnarly process because he got the whole scab out, and then he was like, this is probably going to hurt a little bit. and he scraped the inside of the wound, and I was like, I was about to jump off the seat, off the table or whatever.
Imagine.
It was gnarly. And he packed the wound with this. It was like something with bleach in it. And he said it was something they used in like World War II or something. And
which is a long time ago.
Which is a long time ago. And if they're still using it, I guess it actually works.
All right.
So
I'll go that with you. I'll go that line, that storyline. Modern medicine's advancing every day, but we'll go back to the 40s. Yeah.
So I had to nurse this thing for probably it was like 5 weeks. And then I didn't get the okay, which I should have, but I started mountain biking, cycling, doing stuff just to keep in shape. And I think the doc had noticed. So I went back there after like 5 weeks, and keep in mind, this was like 2.5 months in, and he put me into a soft cast, which like defeated me. Like it like I was on what I thought I was on the mend. I was getting better. I was starting to cycle, and I was like, dude, maybe I can get back on the bike soon. And I was walking everything, doing everything good. When he put that back on me and said, you're in this for another, I think it was like 3 weeks.
Gotta be the most defeating thing in the world.
I was done. I was just like, I went back to the house and I sat outside on this chair for like 2 or 3 hours, just by myself.
Yeah.
I was just like,
just looking out in the distance.
Yeah.
And no one with you.
I was like, what do I do now? But then like, I mean, I had her, and then I had Jake and my daughter Hadley at the time. They were there, which made it better.
Yeah.
But ultimately I was just like so bummed and so just, I don't even know how to explain it. Just depressed at the time.
Yeah, it's a defeating feeling when something you love doing is taken away from you, and you feel like you're going back to that thing, and then all of a sudden there's another regression.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was hard. That was hard in my career. But ultimately, I pressed on, and then I eventually got back on the bike. I think it was like 2 weeks after he took the soft cast off. And that was another hard part of my career of coming back.
Yeah.
So I was trying to come back as fast as possible. I was not in shape at all. Like I'd done cycling or whatever, but it wasn't to what I needed to be. But in my mind, I was like, I can race myself back into shape. And keep in mind, this is the outdoors. We do, at this time, it was like June, July. And I went back at possibly the hardest race of the year. It's a sand track that gets extremely rough, extremely hot. It's in Maryland, I think. Probably. I'm pretty
sand
sure.
track, Maryland, June, July. And
it's hot. It's humid. And I was not in shape. My bike was not in shape to race.
Yeah.
I was just antsy to get back.
Right.
I barely qualified. I made it through. I think I qualified like 30th or something like that, which is, they only take 36, and then they do they take 36, and then they do a LCQ for the last 4 guys.
LCQ's last chance qualifier.
Last chance qualifier. And then after the last chance qualifier, they go straight into 2 35-minute motos. Well, it's 30 minutes plus 1 lap. And it's 95 degrees out. And then you're dressed in all this gear. And then you're on a dirt bike that gets
hot.
Yeah. And that was probably the hardest race of my life.
I bet.
It was gnarly. I think I got like 22nd or something like that, which is all right for coming back and not being in shape, but not what I was expecting. I was expecting to go out and be like,
we all tell ourselves whatever we need to tell ourselves to think we're going to be the best right away.
Yeah.
From any sort of injury.
Yeah, it's that was hard. But after that, I was back. And then I raced actually with that team for the next year. And then another team bought the team I was on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when things started progressively getting better.
Yeah.
That's when I kind of made a name for myself in the 450 class. Like, oh shit, this dude is actually here to play.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. So
it takes a lot of punishment to be what you've gone through. And with all that punishment, there's got to be some massive amount of passion to keep doing what you're doing. Growing up in Ohio, like where did you find the passion to ride motorcycles? How old were you?
So I was 3 when I first started.
All right.
But my dad, he was like at the time when I started riding, he was professional in off-road, so GNCC's Grand National Cross Country Racing. And that's what I did. Well, I did local races around the house, which are called hare scrambles. You know, I went to a couple national enduros with my dad. I would always go to the races. But those are through the woods. They have, I think it's like a 12-mile track or 11-mile track, whatever, but they race for 3 hours long. And that's what I started doing when I was younger. And that's what my dad got me into. And I don't know when I really found the passion for it, but I knew every time I got off my dirt bike, I wanted to get back on.
Yeah.
Like I don't know when it happened, but ever since like 3 years old, I knew when I got off my dirt bike, I was just like, when is the next time I can ride that?
Yeah. And there's so many different categories of riding a dirt bike or what you can do, whether it's motocross, the national trails, or what was it called that your dad did?
Grand National Cross Country.
Grand National Cross Country, and then there's freestyle motocross. Did you like find yourself in a bit of a crossroads of what you wanted to do? Did you like one more than the other at one point in your life?
Yeah. So did
you give off freestyle motocross vibes?
Yeah. I mean, I always say
I had Kenny Bartram in my head. I don't know why.
I always say if you find me upside down on a motorcycle,
it's no good.
It is always by accident. It took me a long time to do a backflip.
Yeah.
On a trampoline.
Right.
So
it's not for you.
Not for me.
And that really never crossed your mind as doing FMX.
Not really. Like I think I tried a knack. So a knack is where you take one leg, either the right or the left, and you cross it over the seat in the air, cross it over the seat, and then back over, and you land on your 2 wheels. The first time I tried a knack, I think I came completely off the bike, and it did not end good.
It was not for you.
That was the end. That was the extent of my freestyle motocross career.
Right.
We would always go. Me and my buddies we had this jump at the back of my, we called it the land in Ohio. And it was like 35 acres. We had a track on it, some trails. All my buddies would come out and ride. We always had this one jump that we go and we would practice our freestyle tricks. So mine was like no-hander or whatever. Some people would try the no-hander lander.
Yeah.
And that was not for me.
Did you ever try it?
I did try it.
Yeah.
I landed it, but
yeah, that front tire started getting wiggly on you?
Way past my level of freestyle for sure. But my biggest trick, I think, that I've ever done was a nothing, where you just let go of the bike and then grab back on.
Yeah.
Let go, and but I stopped real quick. When I seen the crashes that those dudes have, I was like, yeah, this is not for me. And I always looked up to Travis Pastrana, and he was both.
Yeah, he seems like he can do anything, whether it's rally car racing, like freestyle.
You throw him in anything involving
playing without a parachute.
That's what I mean.
Insane. Nitro Circus is just absolutely insane.
It is insane.
Yeah,
and he's taken off to completely new levels, but
he's done such a good thing for the community.
Yeah.
In all phases.
Yeah.
Just motorcycles in general.
And he was such a pioneer. Like he was the first one that I seen that I could actually relate with. And like, he's the one that I looked up to. And I don't know, I always see him like, he's always smiling. He's always having a good time. He's always just like, whatever. Like, we're here, we're having fun. Let's do this thing.
Hell yes.
And that's kind of what I feel like everybody should be like, but that's what I took on. And I like to show personality a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the one who kind of pioneered that, because everybody before him, they had personality, but they were also like super serious at the race and didn't like really show who they were at the races.
Mm-hmm.
But Travis, he was just always him. He would always do an interview wherever. He would laugh. He was so good with the camera and just good everywhere. And I just kind of strived to be like him.
Yeah. So from a racing standpoint, that was one of your biggest influences?
Yeah. Him. And then I always say him and my dad.
Yeah.
Because my dad was badass. He was, I always say, or I always get told that my dad just never quit.
Yeah.
He would either win or he would die trying.
Yeah.
And
that's such a cool thing to say about a dad, dude. Like to sit there and be like, I can just imagine you being like a 10-year-old kid and some guy's telling you, sitting down, probably one too many deep, shouldn't be talking to a kid. Like,
yeah.
Let me tell you something about your dad.
Dude.
He would either win or he'd die. And you're just like, dude, that's so cool.
There's this one, I think it was a VHS video. It was some race up in, I think it was Pennsylvania or something. There was one, I think it was supposed to be halfway when they came across the finish line. I remember him telling me the story. It was supposed to be halfway. Somebody told him, I think it was like halfway through or like a quarter way through the last lap, that they had shortened the race. So it was supposed to be like 6 laps. It was now cut to 3, and they were on the last lap.
Is that a legal thing to do? You guys can you guys do that tomorrow? When you guys are like, hey, actually, it's now this many laps.
Well, only if there's weather. But we typically communicate that to all of the athletes beforehand so they know going in. So like last week in East Rutherford, we had a lightning delay. So that was something we had to maneuver through, and we, cut the main event 3 minutes. So rather than 20 plus 1 lap, we ended up going to 17 plus 1 lap. So not as the competition is going, but we'll make that determination depending on the circumstances and then communicate that to all of the athletes.
Gotcha. So your dad's racing.
Yeah, I failed to mention also, this was probably like 1989, 1990. So they had some different rules, especially in off-road.
Yeah.
And like, I think it was a national hare scramble. So it's out in the woods. It's out in the sticks. But
in Pennsylvania too, like anything's going.
Oh yeah. And it's raining. It's muddy. I think my dad was like a minute behind and they had like 5 miles to go. My dad ended up catching, they called him the Great Scots. It was Scott Summers and then Scott Plessinger. And they would battle like no other. But they're coming to the finish line.
It's cooler, dude.
they were coming to the finish line.
He catches him.
He's
a minute behind.
He catches up to his back tire. And I remember this was on ESPN. And my dad comes across the line right next to Scott Summers and ghost rides his bike across the finish line.
No way.
They were hooking up like this and then ghost rides his bike across the finish line. He got second. But
damn, dude.
yeah.
But he died trying.
He tumbled across the finish line.
You got to be on your bike to finish. Is that the case? Like if your bike goes first before you?
Usually it's like,
I'm thinking of Ricky Bobby right now when him and his buddy are just running down there. Like, this is not going to count for anything, but what competitive spirit? And they kind of just dive.
Usually it's transponder based.
Yeah. Why? You got to explain what transponder based means.
Transponders,
that sounds like Transformers.
And transponders are, I might get this wrong, but they lay like, I guess, a wire across the track.
Correct. Digital tracking.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's a transponder on the bike that communicates, with, digital wire underneath the track that we build into it. So yeah, the bike and competitor need to cross that line together. It can't just be one or the other.
Great Scots going at though. That was a moral victory for your dad.
The 90s.
As a dad, that's fucking dope.
Anything can happen in the 90s.
Yeah. Well, you said it was the 80s earlier.
80s or 90s.
Yeah. Late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, 89 or 90. I can't remember what, because he raced, I think his pro career was like mid 80s, like 10 or 12 years long. So it was like mid 80s to late 90s. So Yeah, but that was one of the things that I definitely remember about my dad. It was just like
Always go, go, go.
always, yeah. And
So when you started like having this success, obviously you told the story about winning the 250 series, going up to 450. Where's your dad in this process? Like, how's he? Like, is he just sitting back, like a dad watching his kid playing soccer back in the day, being like, "That's mine, kid. That's ripping ass out there."
when
everybody,
when I did, yeah, like in 2018, he was
you couldn't tell him nothing in
oh,
2018.
dude, yeah, you couldn't find him without a smile on his face.
Yeah,
unless like
he was Travis Pastrana.
Oh yeah,
he was always happy.
He was literally yeah. In 2018, he was. The next 2 years, a little bit different, but he was there, but he didn't have a smile on his face. But now in 2018, he was just like sitting back and I don't know if he could believe. I definitely couldn't believe it. Like I was winning all these races, right? But I would come home and I would be like, damn. I am the man.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Looking in the mirror, being like, wow, I'm really him.
I'd flex.
Yeah.
Like,
hell yeah, dude.
Pretty big.
Shit off. Yeah, that's awesome.
But I would just come home and I'd be like, damn, I can't believe it. But I don't know if it was him being, because he's always been the one to be like, I'm the man.
Yeah.
Like I'm the shit.
Right.
Like, nobody can tell me shit. And that's how he was. But I don't know if he was like that. Like my kid's shit. Like
yeah, he probably was. Yeah,
I think he was.
There's nothing more like overbearing than a proud father. Like they just kind of, you can feel their presence, and it's awesome. It's also the coolest feeling as a kid when you get to see your dad and he's all hyped up about you. It's like, man, there's a level of confidence that comes to you. It's like, fuck yeah,
yeah,
that's amazing.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So when you were growing up, like when did you realize like, yo, I can actually become the man? Like at what age were you like, I can actually become one of these dudes, the Chad Reeds or the Ricky Carmichael types?
So it didn't come to me until really late. It was probably 2013. It was actually 2013 that my dad came to me and I was still racing GNCCs at the time. I was off-road and motocross. I didn't really know which one I wanted to go. So my dad came to me and was like, hey man, why don't we just try motocross for a whole year? And
was that surprising for you for him to bring that up from what he did before?
Kind of. It was a little surprising, but in a sense, like we had done a handful of amateur nationals before. And I had done well, but I always was just that like maybe top 5, top 10 guy. And I wasn't always there, but we were also gone every weekend trying to race woods, race motocross. And it was just every single weekend that we were gone. So I think I seen it in him and he wanted me to succeed at motocross because obviously pro motocross and pro supercross are more just a prestigious, like more prestigious series. But I knew it was kind of coming, but I don't know. I love the woods and I always wanted to race in the woods. So it was, in that sense, it was kind of a harder, I don't know, choice for me. But I was like, whatever, let's go try it. And that year I ended up winning like 6 amateur titles. And then I went down to Georgia, and which is kind of where I met her, or like not met her, but I knew her, but I moved like 45 minutes from her. Sister. So yeah, because my sister. And I went down there. I trained with a guy named Matt Walker, and I think he kind of exploited my skills on a motocross track. And after that, I actually realized how decent I was at motocross. And yeah, that year I went and won like 6 titles in the springtime. Went to Loretta Lynn's, which is the most prestigious amateur national.
Yeah, Ken was talking about that.
Yeah. So it's a week long. It's in the middle of summer. It's so hot, so humid. But before that, the owner of the Yamaha team I was on, Star Racing Yamaha, he came up to me and I didn't know who he was. And his name's Bobby Reagan, but he came up to me in 2013 and I was like, or he was like, hey man, you keep riding like you're riding. You're going to ride for me one day. And I was like, I was 17 at the time. I was like, oh, yeah, like sick, cool. Like, sweet.
And you didn't know who he was.
I didn't know who he was.
Right.
And
you just thought this guy was just bragging.
Yeah. And my dad was standing
he's
there.
boasting.
Yeah. And my dad was standing there. He was like, yeah, this is Bobby Reagan. And I was like,
yeah.
Sweet. I want to go hang out with my friends now.
Yeah.
But no, after that, they invited me to California, in which I rode their bike for a week, tested it, and then I flew back, did some riding in Georgia, went to Loretta's. I ended up winning every single one of my motos. So Loretta's is a 3-moto format. It's and then you have to qualify to get there, right? So you go through, it's called area qualifiers, which are all over the country. You have districts that you race in, and you have to qualify out of those area qualifiers. And then you go to the regional qualifiers, which is more fast guys, more prestigious event. It's a 3-moto format, I think, and which you race 3 times. And at the end, obviously lowest score wins. So at Loretta's, it's the same thing. I ended up going and winning every single one of my motos. And then after that, I got hurt after that. And then 2014 was not a very great year. And then after that was when I went pro in 2015. So it's been a process. Like,
no doubt.
But to answer your question, it didn't occur to me that I could be one of the guys until I guess in 2013 when I did all that. You
started winning all those races and you're like, wow, this is really something. But there was no like aha moment.
Yeah.
It was kind of like things just happened and you look back on it and you're like, wow, damn.
Yeah, it just fell into place. And then I look back and I was like, okay, we're here now.
Once you started like growing up, like you see the Supercross riders and they have all the sponsors all over there. Was there ever like, damn, I want to be like a Red Bull athlete? Or is there ever like, if I could be sponsored by one company, it'd be this company?
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of a hard question because if it's not the company you're with right now, like, hell.
So I mean, I never really looked at, like, obviously the Red Bull, the Monster, the whatever, like
Monster too.
Yeah. So there was, I think there used to be a lot more. There used to be like a ton more. I can't think of them now, but like No Fear was one of them. And they made gear, and
what a hilarious brand.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Crazy. Like all my buddies
had a No Fear back in the day.
Hell yeah.
Sly glasses, sticky pants halfway down my ass. Big Metal Militia guy. Big Metal
Militia guy.
Yeah,
that was one that I did want to be sponsored by. Was Metal Militia.
Really?
Sick. With
the spikes on their little shoulder pads and stuff. Brian Deegan. Hell yeah.
He was a dude back in the day.
He really was.
Dude,
his son's riding now.
Yeah.
Seems like a little ripper, right?
He is. He's a rookie right now, but he's doing sick.
Oh, he's up.
He's in pro class now.
That's awesome.
He's battling with the top dudes.
So, really?
Yeah. But I always like looked at like NASCAR sponsors, like Bass Pro and like M&M's. I thought it would be sick to be sponsored by like Skittles or something like that. Like some
endless supply of snacks.
That's what I mean. Like I was always looking at like outside sponsors.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the tummy sponsors.
Yeah. And the
internal and
ones,
external. Get it all. I see you.
Ones that keep me filled up.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
But,
we're running on 45 minutes right now. I feel like if you're sitting there talking to your young self or talking to individuals that want to do racing, like what piece of advice would you give those kids that want to be where you're at someday?
Keep it fun. I would say, always have fun, whether it's serious or whether you're just having fun. Always remember to have fun, because if you don't have fun, if you don't keep the passion and the funness in what you're doing, it becomes a job then. It becomes work, and nothing is harder than a job that you don't like. So always keep it fun, always keep the passion for it, always remember why you started doing it, and I think it'll be, the easiest job of your life.
That's awesome.
But,
also one of the most painful from what it sounds like.
You ain't kidding. I got scars, scars. But could I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah, you can, absolutely. You can ask whatever you want.
So I'm just curious, like motocross is I mean, you have teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
But motocross is like a solo sport. You go out there and you race them for yourself. I've always wondered what it was like to like play a team sport and like have teammates you can actually like rely on. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a question, but
no, that's a question. And it's a unique question too, because you're an individual that plays a singular individual sport and asking a person who's only ever played group sports.
Yeah.
So now I have to like kind of disassociate what I've always known to kind of find out the uniqueness behind it. And the cool thing about playing football and growing up playing football is they say it's the ultimate team sport for a reason, because you can have 11 guys on the field. One guy messes up, it's a touchdown. Or if I mess up, it's a sack and the play doesn't get to go off.
Yeah.
So it truly, like having the chemistry, it's really the reason why this podcast started. Is Will and I, who's actually sitting in the back, he got here a little bit after we started. Like we were,
yeah, thanks.
we met in the locker room, and like everyone who leaves the locker room was always like, man, like everyone who retires is always like, the thing I miss the most is the boys and having that camaraderie. Because when you're able to connect with people and learn about people, you can go out in the field and you can start to trust those individuals, learning strengths of other people and their weaknesses to help them out in certain situations. So it's always like, you always want to do your part, but also there has to be a level of awareness with everybody else around you of how you can also help. Like if you're an elite football player, which we're talking facts, we're not boasting.
I
was at one point in my life.
Oh yeah.
I could look to help the guard or the tight end next to me in situations where I knew that my job was a little easier based on the play call.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just knowing the guys around you and keeping the camaraderie. Like I think chemistry in group sports is, I don't think it's underrated by any means, Willie, but it's something that when you get to the pro level is definitely an underrated thing.
Yeah.
And you get into a good locker room with a good group of guys, you can see it on the field, and that's cool. And it is a unique thing too, because for you sitting there and you're a part of this team, this racing team, and how many guys are a part of one race team?
Well, I mean, with mechanics and everything, it's like 20. Yeah.
How many racers though?
People. There are 2 right now.
Yeah. Two racers, and it's like you guys can be buddy all you want, but at the end of the day, you got to race each other, right?
Yeah.
And you're gonna be happy for him if he wins because you're happy for the whole team.
Yeah.
But damn, you wanted to win that.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that just wild?
It's crazy.
And for us, it's like, especially for me, like I didn't get any stats. Like I was out there. I'm a glorified security guard. You know what I'm saying? Like I just get paid a lot to say, sir, you cannot come in. I got a list and everything.
Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. So it was always like Derrick Henry scores a touchdown or AJ Brown scored a touchdown. It's like, I don't give a fuck. We're scoring touchdowns.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a way different thing. I see Willie's got the mic in his hand though.
I was just going to say, and if you have like a bad game and you end up winning, you kind of have that to cover. Like obviously you're going to be thinking about your own shit, but it's not like if you have a bad day on the track and your team might do well, like no matter what, you're going to be in your own world because it's an individual sport.
Yeah.
It's like you can come out of it and be like, fuck, I didn't really play like I wanted to, but hey, at least we got the dub. Like,
like I got through that.
The vibes are still high. Everybody's still, celebrating and everything else. So yeah, team sports, I appreciate a little bit more. I wrestled growing up. So in that individual aspect, it's just like, it's just always on you. It's just always on you. Like you go out there and it's you, your team, and you're just always focusing on what you can do better, whether you win or lose. And with the team aspect, like you just got all the boys, you're all embracing the suck together. Like they're embracing the suck with you, but only you're the one on the track.
Yeah.
I know we got to go, but I do have a question. You guys are hitting those turns. You guys get out of the gates. You're going to that first turn.
Yep.
A lot of bumps, a lot of guys getting knocked over. At one point, you just try to lay a motherfucker out. Like, when you see a guy on the sidelines and you're like, yo, quit fucking doing that. Like, is there, like, I guess rivalries? Like, are you dealing with a big rivalry right now or have you in the past? And when you looked up in the air, there's obviously someone, you don't got to say his name.
If you want to make the sport more popular, you got to talk a little shit.
That is kind of the way to do it, bro. You want to make sports popular, you need a little bit of that shit.
So I'm probably the most liked rider on the track.
That now we are boasting, right? Because that's not something that's cut and dry.
I've been told that, right?
Yeah.
I've been told that, And I'm like the nicest rider on the track.
Yeah.
Never want to take anybody out or anything. But one of my buddies,
Dude, I love how the people that know in the back are laughing.
one of my buddies, yeah.
Well, me, I'm just gonna say, like, yeah.
So-
Who's the buddy?
He was actually on probation this earlier this year.
For Supercross or for life?
Supercross, for
Okay, okay.
Supercross. Yeah. So if you
He's on house arrest, actually.
so pretty much. So if you actually like take somebody out and they can see like your intentions,
Yeah.
like if you do it on accident, whatever.
What the
But
hell do y'all tell? Keep going. Sorry, I can't interrupt.
But so he did a couple on like intentionally.
Same
just
rider, different
clean.
riders.
I think it was the same rider at first.
Yeah,
So
those are
they are
vendetta.
both pretty spicy on the track.
Yeah.
Like, they are cutting people's front wheels off. They'll do it to you in a heartbeat. But Justin, he's gotten better about it.
Justin Barsha.
Justin Barsha, yeah. So there's a highlight reel. There's a highlight
We're
reel.
kind of back here with, so I'm like, it's this name.
Yeah. So he has multiple videos.
Yeah.
And Justin, I love you if you watch this, whatever.
No, you
But-
don't. No, he doesn't, Justin. He doesn't. You should have heard what he said off the bus, dude, before we started the podcast.
See, there's multiple YouTube videos where you can watch Justin just clean these dudes out.
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean, his
Bad boy of
nickname
the
is
track.
Bam Bam. They call
Bam
him Bam Bam.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't know. Like when I get ran in on, like when somebody hits me, I'll clean them out. Like
Yeah.
I will hit them. I'll do my best not to, but if somebody hits me and doesn't take me down, they better watch it for the next couple corners because
Yeah.
I'll come for them. But
That's cool.
it hasn't happened. I like to pride myself, or I like to say that everybody likes me. You have a lot of friends on the track,
Yeah.
so you get less attention
Mhm.
like on the track.
You're just trying to win.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
get through everybody.
You're smiling, but it's stabbing everybody in the back when you can, taking those turns. Yeah, I see
If
him.
I'm-
That's competition, brother. I'm
That's-
with you.
You got
Absolutely.
to. At
So
some
Bam
point,
Bam, he doesn't get that love like that, huh?
No. Unfortunately, he's
Ha-
looked at.
Has there been anything off camera that riders roll up the trailers and are like, let's go. Tarps off, we're rolling.
Yeah, there has been, but it's usually caught on camera.
Really?
Like I think it was Barsha and
Jason
Jason.
Bam Bam, correct?
Barsha's Bam Bam. So I think it was Jason Anderson and Bam. They had an altercation on the track. They went into the tunnel, and you can see from behind. One of them grabbed the other's helmet and like ripped him off the bike or something. Like one of them fell down, and then one of them kept riding. But it gets fired up.
Yeah.
Because you got adrenaline. I mean, I'm sure it's the same way in football, but with these guys, it's like you're racing, and then when you get off the track,
Yeah.
you might be thinking about that the whole 20 minutes, whatever somebody did to you in the first corner, and then it's piling up. And
Mental
you're
warfare.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
maybe you're not
you're
focused
just
on your
like,
job
I'm
then.
gonna kill you.
Yeah. Damn, dude. I was like you. I never made an enemy on the field. Will, you're like Jack McPherson back there, brother. You're holding that mic ready to talk.
Just being ready.
Yeah. What's up, brother? You
My
got
question
something?
was for Kendall. My curiosity is the women that are attracted to the dirt bike boys. Like, what is it about them that get you going? That revs the engine.
We're usually rednecks.
That gets that
Yeah,
wheelie
we
going.
usually is
we pop wheelies for them.
Is
Like,
there a, and this
Is
is,
there like a nickname?
yeah, I was gonna say,
I didn't know if it
because
sounded disrespectful.
I know I was gonna insurance that for you because, like, let's say, okay, girls that like hockey boys are called puck bunnies.
the
all
track
right.
snacks.
Yeah.
Buckle
Oh,
bunny.
track
Track
snacks.
snacks.
Track snacks.
Track snacks.
Track
like
snacks.
a moto.
Oh, we gotta make a
moto
hat
hoe.
that says track snacks.
Yo,
Track
track
snacks.
Track snacks is awesome. Like a little
Oh,
a
you
rope
get-
hat that says
yeah.
track snacks over the top.
You would get serious on it.
Would you wear that? Would you wear a hat that says track snacks? Bro, think of this. Pink hat, white lettering, trucker hat. Track snack. Like you are the. Yeah, hell yeah. We got to make that. Rally them up. Garrett, I know you're going to watch this podcast and you should make that.
That one's better than like, because I feel like with football players, it's just called jersey chasers.
Jersey Chasers,
Jersey-
Jersey
Yeah, kind of
Chasers.
That's
like
what they
more of
call
a
them
group.
in ours too. Like there's multiple names. Like there's track snack, jersey chaser, Motoho.
Motoho sounds a little too. That's a little.
It's a little.
I wouldn't wear that hat if I were. You know what I'm saying? Track snack though.
You look down at that name.
Motoho is a track snack yelling at him.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just a Motoho.
Yeah, exactly. What'd you call me? You fucking heard me, Motoho.
There's a lot of that at the amateur races. It's a lot of yelling.
Have you ever been called any of those things? No, not to your face. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
No, I haven't. We've been together for so long that I never got that nickname. But there's a good bit of girls that you see running around at the races and they have no reason to be there besides to be a track snack.
Hell yeah, dude.
They're known. Everyone knows them. They've made their rounds and they still come back.
Yeah. And honestly,
What was the swag? What attracted you to?
How could you not?
yeah. What do you? Yeah. He started this podcast with, I don't like to boast. I'm the most liked guy on the track, and how could she not?
Yeah, I mean,
blue
pretty much
jeans and
that
boots.
attitude.
Yeah.
He's always nice, though. Like, he is nice to everyone, that he was never, like, an asshole to people. He will stop for anyone, everyone. I get annoyed with it sometimes because he is so nice that we can't walk, like, 2 feet without stopping. But mainly that. He's just, like, such a good person, like, all the way around. Like, what you see in interviews on the track is what you get at home, too. So
That's awesome. That's very sweet. What about you? She's a rocket. You know,
I mean,
it's kind of.
she was fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that caught my eye.
Yeah.
No,
It's a feelings podcast.
I don't know.
Most uncomfortable he's been the whole night. Oh, this guy.
My face is red.
We met and she said hi to me. I thought, this is my wife.
She was my friend's sister, and I just looked at her and I knew. No,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I fell in love with her before I got to dating her.
Mhm.
It was kind of one of those things where I was like outside looking in, and then it actually happened, and I was like, wow, like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then it was I don't know. It's her looks, it's her personality. The way she handles our kids at home. She's
Hell yeah,
she's the
dude.
MVP. I honestly couldn't do it without her because she takes on the kids so much at home by herself. It's like if it was on me, if it was any more on me, I'd be like a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But, she kills it. And
Dude, there's nothing more attractive than like a good mom.
oh yeah,
A mom, like I had 2 kids and a wife, and I just see my wife with our kids. I'm like, it makes you so proud. You feel like you've made a good life choice for your 2 kids because they need both parents.
oh yeah.
But
Yeah,
that
they do.
mom is so huge in their life. That's a massive compliment.
It is
But
awesome.
you did bring up one thing. You fell in love with her before you guys started dating.
I think so.
Did you guys ever run into a situation where maybe she was talking to somebody? And
yeah.
you felt that in there and like.
I actually dated his best friend.
Oh no! Oh shit! Oh, it was. Hey, do not tell me he was a dirt bike rider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No disrespect.
Well,
No
it's-
disrespect at all. It was a total joke.
Because our age gap. Well, our age gap played a big play in it because I'm 31 and he's 27.
Mhm.
So like for a time,
She doesn't
there, it
like
was,
to admit she's
not
5 years older than me.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like that was a big.
You were just waiting until this man got legal.
Yeah,
You out there? You're sipping on a beer and you're thinking to yourself, one more year, honey.
I was
Till
actually
then, you're-
17.
That's awesome. And that had to do that. I mean, your best friend.
It was gnarly.
Yeah,
It was
yeah. That
gnarly.
shit. That's the best way to put it, too. That shit had to be gnarly.
It was
Damn.
crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How
it
did
was-
you handle that emotion? Did that affect you on the track?
Not on the track.
Because girls are consuming. They truly are, dude. If you're, especially when you're young and you find you
Mentally.
have that feeling, it is. I played football games thinking about a girl the entire game.
Oh yeah.
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 I had a horrible game. I played terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've thought that way about in races too, and I've had horrible races.
Right.
It's like it consumes your brain.
Yeah.
When you're thinking about it, and you don't try to think about it,
Right.
it's like it consumes everything.
Women truly are the more powerful of the two genders.
Yeah. I would say so. It's,
Yeah, I mean, undefeated.
They're smarter, more intelligent. That might mean the same thing, but
yeah.
that's it shows right here.
Right there. You just did it.
Right here.
Right? And you know what was sad too is I was like, yeah, he's right. Both of those. You know what I'm saying?
Those things are right. But
Well, that's fucking awesome. And I appreciate you coming on today too, because it's cool to see. And for all the people that are joining us, whether it's Bussin with the Boys fans, Supercross fans, like what a cool contrast and collab it is. I'm rooting for you tomorrow, brother.
Hey, I appreciate
when this
it.
comes out, this will come out sometime next week. It'll be done. So do you want to give me a prediction for the race?
If it's anything less than a top 3, just know I'm not smiling under the helmet.
Yeah. Anything less than a top 3,
baby. Come on.
got a podium. If you're not first, you're last. Ricky Bobby. We're
Hell
signing
yeah.
off. Subscribe, rate 5 stars. Big hugs, tiny kisses.
Rate 5 stars, baby.
Hey, outstanding.